All right, today we're starting part 2 of the Chevy GMC C4500, 5500 Kodiak Topkick. Frame stretch, air ride suspension, aluminum bed install, fix everything that Monroe and GM and Link Suspension couldn't get right on the back half of this truck to make it a usable truck project. God, that was a mouthful. Anyway, so that's where we're at. So if you guys don't know, I've talked about this a while ago. I love this cab of this truck. I love the visibility. I love the brakes in this truck. Everything else is just less than stellar to me. So we're doing this project in phases, and there's some confusion in the last video. We're doing it in phases. The first phase is we're starting in the back. All right. I have taken the dually bed off, sold it. Took the air ride suspension off, sold it. Gone. Now we're going to put our air ride suspension on and move the axle back a little bit and then add some frame section back here and then put a bed on it. People are speculating what we're going to do for fuel tanks. If I can sell them tanks, I'm putting something different on. If I don't sell them tanks and I don't have enough time, they're going back in. That's just how it's going to have to be. And I say that because not having enough time. If you don't know, the Mid-America Trucking Show is coming up at the end of March. That gives me about 3 weeks to finish, to get this completely done, get some miles on it, make sure it's going to be okay, because my son is going, he's taking his wife, his 2 kids, and his dog, and he's going to pull a camper. And the camper he's pulling, if you don't know, is the one I have in the driveway all tore apart. That's what all this is. So I have that to do, and our motorhome, I've got some things I need to take care of on the motorhome as well. So I only have 3 weeks till the show, and I've only got about 9 weeks worth of work the way I work. So we should be fine. As long as we don't have any delays. Oh, wait, you mean like we don't have truck frame? Like I had truck frame lined up. I called the guy, hey, listen, it's a 5/16 thick, 3-inch flange on the top and 8 3/4 outside to outside. Oh, yeah, I got plenty of it. Come on down. C4500, 5500, I got plenty of it. Come on down. So I make the 1.5-hour drive to get there, just to find out that it's a C7500 and it's nowhere near this size frame and it won't work. So after driving home, it's a total of 4 hours screwing around, and I'll show you the pile, the pile of frames. He's like, yeah, there might be one in there. I'll show you the picture of that frame right now. There's no way in the world I'm going to dig through that and have them drag something out of there all twisted up and bent and then use it on something I'm building. I'm just not going to do it. So I may have lined up some frame now, but I won't be able to get it for a couple days. So I'm going to continue on. So we're cleaning up this existing frame. If you don't know, if you've never had a GM vehicle, they do a less than fantastic job of painting their frames. They could do so much better. I think all manufacturers could. And I'm just moving along, and the problem is I told myself, I'll just pull these out of here, clean behind it so I can get it all cleaned up and prime paint. It'll be fine until I go to do it. I can't get that clean enough the way as clean as I want it, so here I am with a creeper underneath the truck, taking that frame section completely loose and all the holders so I can slide all those out so I can clean up this. I'm my own worst enemy. So the idea for this deal is to make sure that what we're doing is making this a better truck than it was to begin with. Because in my opinion, for the way they built this truck, they dropped the ball. They just dropped the ball. So what I'd like to do is get our air ride suspension on that I chose, and we may have the temporary lights and stuff. We may not have time to get the bed on. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to stretch the frame, get the axle in, and we're going to prove our theory of concept that the air ride I choose, I get it set at the right spot, it rides well, it handles well, it does everything it's supposed to do before I really get too deep in this. And this is going to be in phases. This phase is the back half. It's not that this is all that GM got wrong, because trust me, it is not. But this is what we have to start with because I've sold those pieces off. The idea is that I'm going to be in this truck less money when I'm done than when I started because of what I've sold off the truck and got rid of versus the amount of money I put into it. People have left comments saying, oh, these parts are going to be so expensive, you're not going to save any money, you're going to have so much money in it, and blah, blah, blah. Not my first rodeo. You just have to trust me on this. I will have less money in this truck and a better truck when I'm done than when I started. I am certain of it. That being said, let's get to work. I've got the frame all needle scaled, wire wheeled, flap disc, whatever, as far as it's going to go. Anything that's loose is now taken off. Anything that's sticking good is staying. So we should be in good shape here. I have to thank Justin because my Ingersoll Rand needle scaler took a crap on me, and it's not that old. So he came to the rescue with his Harbor Freight needle scaler, and it was allowed me to get my truck frame handled. So I'm certainly appreciative of that. I continue making progress. So the next thing I need to do is get me a suspension. I'm hopefully getting a frame maybe tomorrow. That'd be great. We'll see. So we're going to start laying out, and something I just wanted to make mention in case anybody's not familiar. Anytime you see something like this on a truck frame, you see a little spur of metal. These were drilled afterwards. Okay, you see how these are the tapered holes? These were drilled or punched from the factory. So whenever I'm doing a layout, I'm very mindful to ignore these aftermarket holes. I measure off of factory holes, the ones that were punched in the frame originally. It's been my experience, I find they are far more accurate than John Q, whoever decided he's going to work on trucks today. So this is one of my pet peeves with aftermarket companies too. They drilled this hole, all four of these holes on each side for the hitch. And you can't see it now because it's like a flap disc, but their bit was obviously very dull because it had that buildup of a burr around the edges. And a couple things, you would think that if you drilled holes for a living at an upfit company, you could probably drill them without having to elongate them. And two, you would probably have enough common sense to know that that is way too big of a hole to be that close to the radius. See how these are down farther, and you see how the edge of this one is farther away. It's a smaller hole. That's what you would expect. You wouldn't expect, see how you have meat here. Look how close we are here. There's like, it's almost in the radius right there. And there was no reason for it really, because they could have came down a little farther and used these two holes instead, but whatever. This is why I don't like aftermarket. They don't put the time and effort into research and development and execution like OE equipment manufacturers do. Anyways, let's go find us a suspension, because I think that's next. If you ever want to know where your kids have been when they're around, your grown adult kids or even your younger kids, all you gotta do is follow their trail. Because they'll leave you a trail everywhere they've been.
Ain't that the truth? He does. It's funny.
Come on. It ain't stuck. The threads are damaged down here on the bottom of these U-bolts. Yeehaw!
Well, and
Look at that.
just for the safety police, we have safety precautions in place.
Oh yeah, yeah. This ain't gonna fall. And
So.
there's more than one. There's one, then there's a backup. Oh yeah. I don't reuse U-bolts, but I do save them because they make great tie points on trailers. Yeah, man. Look at her go. Look at her go.
Those are kind of crusty, too.
Look at that.
That one wasn't bad.
Look at that. Well, it didn't have any damage on the bottoms. Okay. I love this case. This is fantastic. Look, they're all in there. Ain't got to worry about losing them. So cool. I love good tools.
Also, you don't have to send me back for a different size all the time. You can just bring them all with you.
While I'm guessing what size it really is.
Yeah.
That one's a little oily. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, buddy. You know what? I should go buy a Harbor Freight one and compare the two. For all them people that say that Harbor Freight's just as good as this
I
one.
wouldn't waste your money or time.
No. Yeah, good point.
I mean, some tools, yeah, they may be comparable, but something like that,
You know what,
I
though?
just can't
cares?
see it.
Buy what you like.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I like Milwaukee. All right, now I need a hammer.
Okay.
I need my big brown, that wooden hammer.
All right.
What do you call it?
Woody.
Woody. Man, you get in the front and give it a whack. Whack. Too much crud in that front one.
Yeah, that front one.
This is why I don't reuse U-bolts. Besides, you know, the threads can be stretched, but look how missing that is. I guess it'd be alright on a farm truck or something, but
Yeah.
for what we're doing, we'll just replace these. Yeah, so we're doing this side now. This truck is, ooh, that's stuck. That is stuck. Trying to get the crap loose here.
Something doesn't look as rusty.
Yeah, I think we'll just set it down and lift it.
Would you want a pry bar to try to wiggle it a little bit, maybe? Well, we got the U-bolts out. The one was really stuck. But
This is why I chose this one, because it's slotted for the top. That'll be helpful. This is from a much bigger sized axle than what we have, so we have to do a little bit to make it work, but simple, just simple stuff. Okay, we'll get this out, and next we're going to work on the airbags. We got get these mounts, and we'll take the shock out. Looks like that shock wouldn't tighten when they put the last one on, and we'll start moving forward. We got the mounts to do. I don't know what crossing we're using yet. We'll get to that. Well, the good news is it moves inside the thing, so that won't be difficult. You just have to get a bigger gun. So they reused the old bolt probably, and the threads are probably already stretched, trying to squeeze that 1/4 inch thick, 5/15 bracket, whatever it is, because that shock is supposed to be tight between them. It should be squeezed tight. And they probably tried to squeeze it, couldn't get it, and that's as far as they went. And boogered the bolt up. That's okay. We have technology. We're gonna replace it. Look how worn that shock is. Bounce around being loose. Come on, people. You can do better.
All right, here, take the torch.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and torch some of this off. I got huck bolts that got to come off. I'll just go ahead and work on these and get them off. real thin metal. You don't need any oxygen here. You can just let the frame melt it. When you get out past the post here. I think that post is right about that length right there. There we go. Nope. There we go. There's some more, I guess. This thing's no good. It's rotted out. We just gotta find. There we go. Hear that noise. Sucky part is there's a bolt down in there. I'm probably just gonna torch the whole thing, torch it off. I don't know if I'll well, I might be able to get. Yeah, I can get to it. I might be able to get to that bolt. It might come loose. Let's try it.
Just don't lean up against that.
I can't get into it. I'll have to clean this out. Look at that rust in there. And really, look how long that's gonna take to clean out.
Yeah. Well, let's let it cool down.
Victory!
Yeah. Everything's been a struggle though, but
Yeah, whatever.
that's how some days are.
You can't live in the Rust Belt, buy rusty junk, and then complain about working on junk. Right?
Well, you can, but it wouldn't do any good.
Yeah. Okay, let's get the shock mount and the bump stop.
There. Okay, I'll go make
Now we
your
can
lunch.
do fine.
You're definitely ready to eat.
Yeah, you do that. I'm gonna keep cutting puck bolts because I want this cross member out.
Okay. There's your plate that you wanted rid of. Alrighty.
That's about ready to come off, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now we can just get this off. We'll set this down, chain this axle to the frame, and we'll drag our pieces out.
We're just going to go ahead and take that fifth wheel off so that we'll have it for whenever we need it, but then it's out of the way. It's twisted. He was not aware where he was setting it, so. Unhook it. Okay.
A little easier.
We chained it, the axle up to the frame, and yeah, like you said, we're gonna that way we can get our parts out a lot easier than trying to get them out from under there.
Because he's got a little weight to him.
Well, I'll put this down and give you a hand.
Okay, so I'm marking out my holes for this. Now normally I would hook to the top and come down. The problem is two things. Our flange, the bottom section here, is a 1/2 inch wider on this truck than it is on ours, and the height of the frame is 1.25 inches taller. So I'm coming off the bottom and I'm measuring up this way and subtracting that 1/2 inch from every measurement to the center of these holes. So this one shows 6 1/8, so we're going to mark it as 5 5/8. This one is 8 1/2, we'll mark it at 8. That one is 10 15/16, so you know we'll probably go 10 9/16. So that'll get us that. We'll do that all the way up through for all the holes, and then we'll use this one as our beginning hole to measure that way. We don't necessarily need the center of the axle because we know where that's at based on our bump stop here. Our bump stop, this mount right here, this is for the bump stop, so that's the center of our axle. So as long as we start right there, we'll be good. It should be fine. I'll just measure back from there, find my center here, and work from that. Well, it wasn't a hugely productive day, but sometimes tearing old crap apart, you know, turns into something else. And then, you know, I want to take it apart far enough that we can get to a point where there's nothing else that needs replaced or repaired or cleaned or wire wheeled or whatever the case and painted. So that's where we're at now. All the parts are out, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions about how I'm going to make this work because I was a much bigger axle than this one, but just hang on. When we get there, I'm going to show you the details of how I'm doing this. It's not a how-to. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys that own these things that can appreciate a better air ride or a better suspension at all. So this is how I lay out truck frame. We take and clean the frame all up, and we take blow gun, blow all the dust off, then we go back and spray it all down real good, cleaner, then we wipe it down with acetone. Acetone, mineral spirits, something, typically acetone, it dries fast. And then I lay this painter's tape on it. The purpose of the painter's tape is so I can actually see what we got, because if you ever try to write on this stuff, you can't see anything. It's marker's hard to find, all that kind of stuff, and plus this gives me a place that's easier to reference when I'm laying out. Again, I had to compensate because this frame is only, you know, 3 inches flange, not 3 1/2 like the other. So we make our marks, and then I mark what size hole it's going to be. The unfortunate thing is those are 13/16 holes. These are 11/16 on this side. The other bracket, this has been replaced. This is a corporate suspension, and this bracket's been replaced. It was bolted in. That one was huck bolted in. So they make two different versions. One's a standard, one's a heavy duty. This is apparently the heavy duty because you would never have a 3/4 bolt on a single axle, you know, with this GVW. So my options are to drill two different size holes for two different brackets, which we all know that's not going to happen. Or I can drill that out to be 13/16 like this. I think that's cast steel. I'm not sure. But I haven't laid out the other side yet because I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I'm working. Hello, lady. How are you?
I took the label off.
Where's this from?
I think it says SH2.
SH2?
Yeah.
Huh. Is there a razor blade up there on that magnet? If you guys don't know, SH2 has a YouTube channel. They do tons and tons of stainless, like my thing on my toolbox there. They made a mailbox topper for me, made that, keychains, all that stuff. Oh, I know what this is.
Oh, that's cute.
I saw a video they put out the other day, and they were showing these things they were making, and I thought it was really cool. I told them, I said, man, I said I could see how that would be very helpful, you know. But I'll show you what it's for. Glad I got it. How'd you get me a razor blade? It's metal origami.
That's funny.
But it's pretty cool. It's a really, really neat idea. Now we gotta take a road trip. A field trip. Let's go. So everybody does this, right? We put our welding helmet on top of the valve. We wrap our gun around so we don't get a kink in our liner on our main gun. This is pretty cool. It's meant to go like this, and you put these little tabs here on this, and they create hangers. So you can put all that stuff on it and change it from one to the other, or take it off without having to take your over the valve there, you know, or take your regulator loose. So then you can hang your helmet. And me, I like to hang my gun on here. Turn it a little bit. So I can hang my gun like so. And then the power cord is another one that I would want to do. It's
Oops,
always,
tape measure.
it's always a problem. This stuff's always tied up.
Nice.
Hang on, we ain't done yet. Then, so if you you don't have room for your grounding clamp for your welder, this one can come to this side. I can roll it up and put it on there as well. So everything is up out of the way and not tangled up. Which now, because I have a plasma cutter, and now, look man, everything's up, it's not dragging.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is way cool. There's this way cool. The plasma cutter is going to be coming off of this cart because there's something else coming. We have something new coming from HTP. We've been talking with Peter, and Peter's going to tentatively, we don't know for sure yet, but we think Peter's coming in a few weeks, and he's going to teach me aluminum. That'll be so cool. So my welder welds aluminum. This is the HTP Pro Pulse 220, and all the functions in this thing are all on the front screen here. I don't have it plugged in, but we can scroll through this. I should take that protective lens off so you see better, but it'll do aluminum, stainless, silicon bronze, so many different metals and procedures. And Peter's on his way, hopefully, in the first part of March. He's going to teach me how to weld aluminum. And that's going to come in handy because you guys know what we're working on. Anyways, that's really cool. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, everybody at SH2. That's pretty cool. So if you guys want one of them, just go to their website, sh2.com, I think it is. You can see that business card they sent. What's their website? Is it on there? Right there? sh2.net. Yeah. From Rob. Every welder needs one. Check that out.
That's true.
You know, I'll link
handy.
that. I'll link that video in the description so you guys can check it out. That's very handy. Handy is what Charlie used to say?
You'll link the video in the description?
Yeah, I'll link the video to SH2 where they
Oh, gotcha.
where
Okay.
they talked about that. I'll put that in the description so you guys can check it out. And then I'll link to the welder, HTP welder off of Peter Zilla's channel. You can see what that welder will do, because we've got aluminum to weld, whether we use the bed we have on this truck, but we're gonna be building something out of aluminum. So I need to get good at aluminum. So Peter's gonna come down, spend some time with me, and teach me how to weld. And there's a special little secret that I'm not gonna reveal quite yet, but it involves Peter, and it is huge, at least huge for me. Anyways, let me get to laying this out.
Okay.
It's the end of the day, and we have needle scaled and wire wheeled all the suspension. We took it apart far enough that we think we're going to be able to get, you know, some good coats of primer, good coats of paint on it, and it turned out okay. When I was taking this apart on the other truck, I knew this hanger had been replaced because that side still had the original Huck bolts in, and this side had regular bolts. Well, the problem is when they replaced it, whoever ordered this ordered the heavy-duty bracket, not the standard. This International Corporate suspension has two different hangers, and you can tell here how the webbing is thin. You see how much thicker it is here. Same thing on this mounting flange, and right here, this is quite a bit heavier. And the guy who replaced it did a phenomenal job making sure everything was tight. So rather than drill them out to 13/16, because I really don't want to drill 13/16 holes in that frame for the GVW this is. So I'm just going to order another hanger, the standard duty, not the heavy, replace that. Now, we're still hung up on frame. I have lined up used truck frame 3 times, and all 3 times I'm going to be polite and just say it never came through. So I've talked to a shop about bending this. They said yeah, they would do it, but they're 6 weeks out. I talked to another shop and they said they would do it, and it would be a week. They would rush it. I could pay a little more, I could rush it, but I have to buy 20-foot long sections, and that price is just not cost effective. So I'm still on the hunt for truck frame. It's 5/16 thick, 3-inch flange, 8 3/4 outside to outside. And I've located another truck. If I have to, I'm gonna go buy another truck for parts and cut the frame off. I don't want to do it, but I don't want to stall on this, and I don't want to put it back outside. I would like to have this done. So that's where we're at with that. I'm gonna go tomorrow, look at this parts truck. It just gets out of hand, but it is what it is. We've made progress. I just don't like being stalled right now. As of right now, the plan is we're going 84 cab to axle, and we're putting the aluminum flatbed that I have now on it. And that's what I know for certain right now. That's what I know for sure. But anyways, if you follow us on Facebook group, JC Smith Projects on Facebook, then you probably know some of the stuff that I am thinking about right now. But anyhow, I'll leave you with that. We made some progress. We're moving along, but man, I got to find some truck frame. So I better get at it. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.